Hey friends, Elizabeth here, and I'm back with another Plan With Me video. This one might be the latest I've ever been with a Plan With Me video. I'm very sorry. We have extenuating circumstances this month. If you are a patron or if you follow me on Instagram, you might have seen that my sister had a baby in August, and I am now an aunt for the first time, which I'm very excited about. So August was a very hectic, exciting, chaotic month. And the plan was always that I would be going to Montreal, where my sister and brother-in-law live, for the first 2 weeks of September to help out with baby. So it was extra chaotic as I was trying to get ready to go, and I don't normally travel anywhere for multiple weeks at a time, and I knew I wouldn't be able to work very much, so I was sort of frantically trying to finish stuff, and I managed to film this Plan With Me the day of my flight and get the footage backed up, but I've been editing it when I have little spare moments here and there in between helping to take care of a newborn. So lots going on, and this theme is actually inspired by something I made for my nephew, a stuffed bunny, and I was actually sort of panicking about what theme to do because I was running out of time to film this video, and I hadn't really had time to think about it as I normally do, and my husband suggested I do a bunny theme, which I thought was adorable and perfect. So I went back into the archives of old Plant-Based Bride bullet journal themes and pulled out something that is very reminiscent of some of my early themes. I used to love doing very simple black and white line art themes, so that is definitely the vibe we're going for this month, and I really love it. It feels super nostalgic for me, which I enjoy, and it's obviously incredibly simple, which is also totally perfect for this month. I will be sharing some clips of the stuffed bunny that I made for my nephew at the end of this video, so definitely stick around. This video is not going to be very long, so you won't have to stick around for very long, but if you want to see a labor of love that was a bit of a challenge, but I think turned out pretty adorable, then definitely watch till the end. But for this cover page, I just went very simple, 2 line art bunnies, and then some line art, very simple leaves to kind of finish a bit of a wreath shape around the stamped header, and then a very simple calendar on the right side. And I'm trying something slightly different for my weeklies, again, because I'm going to be in Montreal for the first 2 weeks of September, and I wasn't really sure how much work I'd be able to do and how much I'd be able to use my bullet journal. I decided to compress my weeklies into a single page each, but I did them a little differently than I used to do my single page rolling weeklies. So you'll see that in a second when I move on to the weekly spreads, but I decided to just give 1 page to each week because I really didn't know how much I'd be using my bullet journal, and I'm trying to save pages because I have sort of inadvertently committed to trying to fit all of 2024 in a single notebook, and I think this will be the first time ever, or at least in several years, that I have tried to do that. Usually I use one notebook for 6 months and then I'll set up a new notebook for the second 6 months, but I felt like I had so much left in my notebook by the time we got to June that it felt like a waste to move into a new notebook. So I'm just crossing my fingers and toes that I can manage somehow to get to the end of December in this notebook, but it's starting to look a little dire. So this is not only practical because, like I said, I don't know how much I'll be using my bullet journal or working in the first 2 weeks of September because newborns are notoriously high maintenance, but also because I need to save as many pages as humanly possible. So instead of doing a single column of boxes for each day of the week that are the full width of the page but quite short, I decided to create 2 columns so that each box could be a little bit taller but only half the width. And I thought that would be maybe a little bit easier for me to use based on how I typically format my daily to-do lists. I think this is a little bit more practical, and it gives me the illusion of having more space for every day, even if that is not totally accurate. I do have a bonus box for general weekly notes, and then I have a teeny tiny space for my rolling weekly. Again, because of my life circumstances for these 2 weeks, I think this will be more than enough. I will probably go back to a regular 2-page rolling weekly for the last 2 weeks of September, but I actually haven't set them up yet. I decided to only set up these first 2, partially because, again, I was racing against the clock to get this done before I had to leave for the airport, and also because I wasn't sure how behind I would get on my work in these first 2 weeks. So I kind of wanted to leave it up in the air, leave it flexible, and when I get back, see what I felt I needed out of my bullet journal. Which, again, part of the benefit of a bullet journal is that because you are setting it up yourself, it is as flexible as you need it to be. So I'm really relying on that flexibility this month because it is such an outlier for me. Yoda came for a quick visit right as I finished my weekly, which is very out of character for her because usually she does not wait for me to be done. She interrupts right in the middle. So I appreciated that she waited for me to be finished before she came for snuggles. And this is also kind of making me sad recording this voiceover because this is the longest I've been away from Chewy and Yoda, my 2 cats, for several years. I normally hang out with them all day, every day, and I miss them so much. So this is making me a little emotional, I'm not gonna lie. But luckily, I will be home soon and all will be well. But that brings us to the end of this setup. Super, super simple, possibly the most simple setup I've done in a while, but I really like it. It's very meaningful to me. And now, without further ado, let me introduce you to the bunny I made for my nephew. This is, as my husband has dubbed him, Mr. Bean, because he was introducing me to Mr. Bean the week that I started making this. And my brother-in-law has started calling him Rowan Atkinson, which is adorable. So this is the bunny I made for my nephew. I sewed the bunny itself out of linen, and then I made the little overalls out of linen as well, and then the little hat out of a rib knit. And all the patterns are from the same pattern shop on Etsy. So I'll link those down below if you also want to make a bunny stuffed animal. I think it turned out so cute. It was definitely challenging for a variety of reasons, but I'm really, really happy with how it turned out. I find it so adorable, and the bunny is basically exactly the same length as my nephew, which is wild because he's so tiny. So that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I feel like this one got a little bit more personal than I sometimes do, but this has been a pretty big deal in my life. So thank you for watching. I appreciate you all so much, and I'll be back really soon with another video. Bye, friends.